All right, Rob, you mentioned it earlier. I played off of it with the I'm back. But Cam Newton, first two touches in his first game back. Less than a week after he was signed by Carolina, his former team, where he had all of his glory, led him to the Super Bowl, won the MVP in 2015.
And was pushed out that they didn't want him.
The new regime, right? Matt Rule came in. They were ready to move on, which, hey, I get it. He was a new regime, but here he comes, kind of crawling back after it didn't work out with Sam Darnold.
I don't know about kind of, he had no choice, to be honest.
Right. And so Cam is back. First touch, Rob runs it in from, 1 yard, 2 yards. And I tell you what, all the frustration and anger that he must have felt, and even embarrassment that he must have been feeling over the last 2.5 months was released on that run. Because he broke like 3 tackles. I know guys didn't have him in their grasp, and it wasn't like he ran somebody over. But 3 guys had a shot at him. And it looked, Rob, like he just would not be denied. And he let out the I'm back, got the penalty. Well, here's Cam talking about it.
Newton takes the snap, and he is in for a Panthers touchdown.
That's great.
And then, he comes. Look, anybody with heart, whether you were a Cam Newton fan or not, and I understood, I think you did too, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, but I understood why he wasn't signed at this point. And like he must have been feeling that he's definitely one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the world. I was feeling the same way, but, just every situation is different. And just because he's better than some guys doesn't mean it was the right fit. But all of the frustration he must have been feeling.
I'm just curious.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. We'll get to that. We'll get to Mike White a little bit later.
Exactly.
Yes. But I think it all came out in that play. And then he throws the 2-yard touchdown, which was a great throw, actually. And so, Rob, where are you at on this? I think anybody with a heart had to feel good for Cam. Whether you like him or not, it was great to see because, again, he's 32. He's not 42. He's not 38. I do think his best years are behind him. I do think he's banged up and beat up physically and lost some stuff. But he certainly still is capable of playing in the league. And it was good to see him out there doing a little bit of something.
If people do not like Cam Newton, I have no explanation why they don't like him. Because he was banged up, or he was an MVP, he was an animated player.
You mean teams or
people
like fans?
I don't know why. Maybe you don't like his dress attire. You know what I mean? His wardrobe,
right.
If it's that. But I'm saying as a guy, Chris, all I heard was good things from his teammates. New England, they made him a captain.
Belichick loved him. Yeah.
Belichick,
I believe that.
raved
that he
about
really
him.
Did
Yeah,
like
there's no reason to do that if you're not really feeling the guy like that. So I think it's an ultimate redemption story that he could write. And you just mentioned it. He's only 32. The time off, I'm sure his body feels better and rejuvenated somewhat. I'm not saying he's going to return to Super Bowl status, or MVP status where he was, Chris. But there's a lot of serviceable quarterbacks out there, and I think he's better than some of these guys who are starting for some teams around the NFL. And if you're the Panthers, you feel like you got a jolt of energy. They have a pretty good defense. They started out 3-0, stumbled, a lot of turnovers by Darnold. He's out now. And now Cam comes in, and they played. I get it. The Arizona Cardinals were without Kyler Murray. But you know what? They were without him a week before, Chris,
right.
And they kicked the San Francisco 49ers' butt.
Right.
Okay?
Their defense was still strong.
Exactly.
Kyler doesn't affect that, yeah.
So you got to take a look at that and feel really good about that win, and that Cam on a short, amount of time was able to come in and contribute, and you feel like you got somebody who you can put under center, and if he can limit the mistakes and work through it, I think it's a great story. And it ain't that often. I always say, Chris, going back is okay. I never go backwards when it comes to relationships, okay? But when it comes to work situations and opportunities, sometimes you can go back, and wound up
Right.
and wound up doing really well. I always say Stephen A. to me is a perfect example.
I was just about to
I'm
say
serious,
that. That's what ran through my
especially for
mind.
us
Right.
in our business, Chris, because he left ESPN not in a good way when he left. Right, he had a show, quite frankly,
right.
and all
It
that.
was a bad
He was exactly
Parting, yeah.
It was a bad parting, and look who's the king of ESPN now when he went back. So
Right.
you can go back in some situations and make it better for yourself. And I think Cam has a great opportunity. The door was open because of an injury. And if it wasn't for that, he probably wouldn't be anywhere. But now, if he works hard, Chris, he has a chance to write another chapter and maybe play 4 or 5 more years. And if it's not in Carolina, somewhere else.
I'm not ready to go there yet, 4 or 5 years. I don't think, Rob, that he's going to return to greatness. I don't think he'll be a Pro Bowler or anything like that, going forward. Certainly not what he used to be. But I will say this. I think he has a chance. He's going to start next week, it looks like. With that defense, which is one of the top defenses in the league, and with Christian McCaffrey, who was sensational yesterday. McCaffrey's just got to stay healthy. That dude
Remember,
is
he
great.
was out a lot of that time. You remember when they
With
started
Darnold.
out 3-0.
There's some that wonder
Right.
if Darnold would have been that bad had McCaffrey not gone
It
down.
did hurt. It did hurt. Let's not.
Yeah,
Let's be fair. Let's be
right.
fair.
Darnold is what he is, but yeah, I don't think it would have been that bad had they had Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
But my point is, with McCaffrey and that defense, Rob, I think there is a solid possibility of Cam Newton. I don't know if leading is the right word because McCaffrey's their best player, but them making the playoffs with Cam Newton as their quarterback. What he has to do is not make mistakes. Obviously, he can run the ball at times. I don't know how well he can throw the ball downfield, but if he can, do the dinking and dunking and get the occasional, pass, 20 yards down the field, then I think that team has a shot. Right now, they're the 6th seed, I believe, in the NFC. The NFC's got, Green Bay and Tampa Bay and the Rams and, these teams at the top, Arizona. But then after that, it's, it gets very mediocre. Right. And so he's got a shot at leading them to the playoffs. Now, again, there's talk that if he does well, they could re-sign him next year. I wouldn't be looking at him, Rob, unless he surprises me and everybody else, as like my quarterback of the future. Because it seems like there's 2 situations in this league with quarterbacks. You've got a star that you feel great about. Whether you win the Super Bowl or get to the AFC or NFC title game, whatever, you still know he's your guy. You feel good about him. You believe you can win big with him. And then there's kind of everybody else. And if you don't have that guy, you're looking for that guy. And so good quarterbacks, like Baker Mayfield, now there's wondering in Cleveland, is he our guy? Baker's a good quarterback. He's not a great one. And so people are always looking for the great quarterback. Tyler Heineke's pretty good in Washington, but they're not like, okay, we got our guy.
If somebody would have come along, they would be willing to part. But
and I
he's
think
okay
Cam
for
would
right
be
now.
one of those guys. He'd be a guy where, he's pretty good. We're okay. But you'd probably still be looking for somebody down the road. But we'll see what he shows us.
Yeah, and it all depends. Chris, if he plays well and they win a playoff game or something and Cam plays well, that's your resume.
It would definitely keep him in the league.
It would keep you in the
As a
league
starter,
and make you an option for other people. That's if it's not for the Panthers, like some other team that says we got a pretty good defense. We just need a quarterback who doesn't turn the ball over too many times. Take your shots down the field, Chris, once in a while, but dinking and dunking. A lot of guys have done it and helped and were able to win a lot of games. You don't have to. You just have to have a threat that you're going to throw it down once in a while to soften the defense. That's it.
Well, and to your point, Carolina would be the place. Like, if they win a playoff game, Rob, you got to bring him back because obviously you're not getting the top pick in the draft. And not that great quarterback's out there necessarily anyway, but you know what I mean? Like, unless you're getting somebody much better, then you would probably bring him back if they get to the playoffs. And then I think even his former coach, who they're going to face next week, Ron Rivera in Washington. I mean, that's another place with a good defense that, I mean, they may be fine with Heineke until they can get a better guy, but, that's another place that maybe he would fit. But